Hi everyone, No Life Till Leather here with Rhyme Signatures, the nerdiest music review this side of slowly anamorphing from the frontman of a heavy metal band into a mundane item of dining room furniture, and today we're going to be doing a review of the new Metallica album, 72 Seasons. Metallica will always have a very special place in my heart. They were my first band, my first exposure to what I consider to be real music. Obviously, when we're children, we pretty much listen to what our parents listen to, and in my case, that would have been the likes of, Deep Purple, Black Sabbath, Pink Floyd, Jethro Tull, Roxy Music, etc., etc. Thanks, Dad. But eventually we must leave the nest, and our tastes branch out, even if the seeds of our taste were laid for us by what we were raised around. Metallica was the first band that I found for myself. The first band I obsessed over. They were mine. They weren't something I was made to listen to. They were something I found myself. And in the early 90s, when we didn't have streaming services or YouTube or anything like that, every new discovery felt like opening a magic treasure chest of possibilities and discovery. As cliché as it might seem by today's standards, it was Master of Puppets where I made my start. And I distinctly remember getting so overwhelmed by the opening few seconds of the title track that I literally, I just stopped the record, ran up to my brother's bedroom and demanded he come downstairs to listen to the album with me. Such was the impression that this record had on my younger self's brain. Sadly, my brother didn't quite gel with the music as well as I did, but it mattered little. The entire record was everything to me. It gave me an appreciation for the album, the true long form. I was finally realising there was more to an artist than these singles, or what lay within their greatest hits record. And of course, from Puppets, I worked my way around, discovering Ride the Lightning, Justice for All, the Black Album, Kill 'Em All, and I honestly loved each and every one of them. Then Load and Reload came out, and, they were different, sure. I still had and do have a great time with them, and I do feel that history has been a little bit on the cruel side to these records. I mean, no, they're not classics like the first 4-album run, but they're still very entertaining slices of pretty standard issue mid-90s heavy metal, and I'll honestly defend their honour should the smack talk ever come out swinging. Then we had Saint Anger. Oh boy, did we have Saint Anger. That was the record that broke my faith in the band. I felt betrayed and let down, a kind of feeling within me that felt akin to being cheated on by a lover. What was this poorly produced garbage? Where were Metallica? Look, I'm not going to go get too much into it. The whole Saint Anger thing has been debated to death at this point, and I'm not adding any more fuel to that fire. Give me that which I desire. We then had a bit of an upswing with Death Magnetic and Hardwired to Self-Destruct. Both competent, if I suppose unremarkable albums, and ones that I will never actively seek out to listen to. If they came on, I'm fine with that, not going to start complaining. So, now it's 2023, and the biggest metal band on the planet are back once again like the Renegade Master, and following a brief popularity surge amongst the younger generations after Master of Puppets featured in one of the most hype moments of very popular TV show Stranger Things, can the band still impress? Can they, now mostly into their 60s, still shred with the best of them? And is 72 Seasons an example of the true masters, showing all the whippersnappers out there how it's done? Short answer, no, not really. Long answer, let's get into it. In no uncertain terms, 72 Seasons is most assuredly a post-Saint Anger record. It kind of feels like it's skirting around the familiar ground, territory, sound and motifs of the likes of both Death Magnetic and Hardwired, but with a leaning more to the latter than the former. Yeah, okay, this isn't breaking any new ground, but honestly, at this point in Metallica's career, it would be exceptionally naive to expect them to either want or even be capable of changing their playbook. Being a victim of their own legend, the band are now somewhat typecast into what fans are expecting from them. So, yes, 72 Seasons isn't going to win any awards for creativity or experimentation, but that's fine, right? I mean, Metallica know how to write banger heavy metal songs with infectious riffs, tremendous solos and memorable melodies and feelings. I mean, they used to. Well, listening to this record has been a very frustrating experience for me, and I want to kind of just break it down a little bit, analogy style. You love chocolate ice cream, right? It's the mutt's nuts, it's the dog's bollocks, it's the king of flavour, and you love it. So let's say you have a very large quantity of this ice cream, let's say, 77 minutes of it. And for a while, it's incredible. But then you're about, halfway through, and repetition really sets in. And by the time You know, you scrape that final spoonful, you come to realise that this much chocolate ice cream, all at once, without any real variation, is only going to leave you with an upset stomach. 72 Seasons is long. Monstrously long. Unnecessarily long. 77 minutes of broadly similar music with no palate cleansers, no breaks in the action, just endless riff after riff, boring drum fills, repetitive vocals, and uninspired, tedious soloing. I wanted to like this record. I really, really did. Hardwired was decent, and so was Death Magnetic, so I had reasonably high hopes for 72 Seasons, but the whole record has this remarkable feeling of being, I don't know, unfinished. Every riff, every solo, every element of the album feels like a smorgasbord of unfinished demo material. There's no refinement, there's no polish, or no attempt to make anything especially memorable. You know, if I think back at every single Metallica album prior to this one, even Saint Anger, I can think of at least half a dozen moments on every record that stuck with me. But on 72 Seasons, even after 6 full listens all the way through, I can only think of a handful of moments that stuck out to me at all. Crown of Barbed Wire, Chasing Light, Too Far Gone, and Inamorata are all solid offerings that are, you know, they're worth your time, and they are easily the standouts on an otherwise plodding and somewhat tedious record. But these songs don't kick in until halfway through the album. The first half is just so tediously formulaic and disinteresting that it's really honestly just hard to care about it. The biggest problem with almost every single song on this album is just how long they are, and how virtually none of these songs, outside of Inamorata, justify their length. There's so much needless padding, endless guitar noodling that just doesn't go anywhere, repetition of poor, unmemorable, bland ideas and choruses that by the end of most of the songs on the album I've gotten bored out of my mind. I mean, I can forgive this to a degree if you're able to sprinkle in some lighter tracks or interesting segues to break up the action, but one flavour, one style over a record as long as this, it's not good. It's unnecessary and boring. I mean, if this record trimmed off, I don't know, 25 to 30 minutes to put this at around a 50-minute album, would it be better? Yes, obviously. But would it be a good album? Honestly, probably still no. Editing and trimming can only do so much, and there simply isn't enough on 72 Seasons to maintain my interest. It feels Metallica by numbers, an endless slog of music by necessity that utterly fails to capture the imagination. Now, look, I get it, I have been very negative about this record, I know, but it's not all bad. I mean, James Hetfield still sounds better than ever behind the microphone. His distinctive delivery is powerful and confident, and honestly, how many vocalists still sound as good as this at this stage in their careers? The band are still clearly enjoying themselves, and there are some moments in the better tracks where the band manages to sort of tap back into their old spirit and passion, but these moments are fleeting and few and far between. It's only really by the time the last track, Inamorata, kicks in that the band showcases any kind of bold creativity, and if the entire record was as fearless as this, and as confident in trying to tread different ground, then this could have easily been the best Metallica album since the Black Album. As things stand though, 72 Seasons just left me feeling cold. So, what else can I say about Metallica's 72 Seasons? I know, a small YouTube reviewer blasting down what is certain to be one of the biggest albums of the year for clicks. Name me a more iconic duo, right? But, no, for real, I wanted to like this. I adore Metallica, and I owe them so much for what they made music mean to me. So believe me when I say that being so critical of this record mostly comes from a place of former reverence for the band. I will always and forever love Metallica for what they did for me, but in a lot of ways it colours how I see this album and how I perceive 72 Seasons. Now, I enjoyed Hardwired and Death Magnetic a lot. They weren't classics, but they still provided us with a lot of stone cold bangers. But when I look back at the track list while preparing this review, I found myself thinking, what song was that one again? How did that chorus go? Was there a decent solo in this track? And this is after more than half a dozen listens of a 77-minute long album. Now, I'm certain this record will still have its audience, and if you did like this one, then honestly, I'm jazzed for you. I never want to not enjoy something when I listen to it. I always approach every album I hear with the mindset of, this band has made this record to entertain, so I will give it its dues. But ultimately, outside of 3 or 4 tracks on here, I simply didn't have an especially good time with 72 Seasons, and I'm not really looking to return to this. Unless you're a massive fan of modern Metallica, I would honestly skip this one. Otherwise, give it a stream before you decide to buy it. This is all, of course, very much my opinion, guys, as you should well know by now. So if you have listened to 72 Seasons, please tell me what you thought about it in the comments down below. If there's anything else coming out later on this year you think I should check out, please do let me know about it. I'm always looking to listen to new music. If you did like this video, please do share it around with anyone else who you think would enjoy it, and please do consider subscribing for some more content. If you really like what I do, please also consider clicking my Ko-fi link in the description box down below to help support the channel. And until next time, guys, keep your rhyme signatures very, very odd.